Yo, what's up, YouTube man? It's your boy, Ashton Jackson. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the reports about Dak Prescott resetting the QB market and getting a brand new extension, and about him getting $60 million a year. And I'm going to debunk some of the notions about when people hear about a big contract like that and what really goes into a contract, and why certain people and some people need to tone it down when talking about does Dak Prescott deserve his money and things of that nature. So before we hop into the video, I'd appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. So hopping straight into it, really, a lot of people who don't make certain type of money like some of these athletes do, they always tend to question, do they deserve this money or not? A lot of the times, these quarterbacks, the way they earn their contracts, they earn it through regular season status, and they also, these owners, they give you a contract based on what you're going to do and things of that nature. So, a lot of people are like, does Dak Prescott deserve it? If we're just paying people off of their postseason success, there would only be there would only be like 3 or 4. There would only be a handful of quarterbacks who would deserve their actual money and things of that nature. Like, Patrick Mahomes does not make enough money in this league for how much revenue he brings in, how many times he's winning in the playoffs, plus is winning in the Super Bowls and things of that nature. He doesn't get paid enough. I think the only person you can probably, who's playing right now in the league, that comes close to any of his accolades is Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers haven't even sniffed a Super Bowl in about 11, 12 years. Russell Wilson's been about the same thing. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl in almost 10 years. The last time he's won a Super Bowl was like 2013. So same thing with him. It's been about 10 years. He hasn't even been to a championship game since 2014, 2015. So if we're really breaking down who really deserves money in this league, if we're playing it by postseason success, it should only be one quarterback. If we're being honest, like that, those are the only people who should be getting major contracts. Debunking all of the contracts that people try to say Dak Prescott doesn't deserve and things of that nature. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes deserves the money he's getting. He's going to get more money. So again, one thing before I even get out who really deserves contracts or not, since we won't be on that topic real quick, about when Dak Prescott initially got paid in 2021, 2022, he was like the highest paid quarterback. Then after all the quarterbacks in front of him got paid, Jared Goff had a bigger cap hit than him when he got paid. Who else got bigger money? Carson Wentz got more money than he did, I believe. There was a couple more, like Russell Wilson got more money than Dak Prescott. Matthew Stafford at a point had more money than Dak Prescott was making. Aaron Rodgers was making a lot of money. Russell Wilson already has said made a lot of money. So when Dak Prescott first got his contract, yes, he was number one. But by the time the market was saturated and everybody else got their contracts, like when Kyler Murray got his contract in 22, he washed out Dak Prescott. So every time somebody got a bigger contract, Dak Prescott's contract was getting plummeted down in the market, and he didn't even show up in the top 10 worth of contracts. Josh Allen got his contract in 2021, makes more money, has a bigger contract than Dak Prescott, hasn't done anything in the playoffs. He can't get past Mahomes. He couldn't beat Joe Burrow last year to go to the championship game, again to go play Patrick Mahomes. This is the first year that Patrick Mahomes is coming to your building. Patrick Mahomes has less wide receiver weaponry than he had the last time you played him. He still lost to him, and everyone complains about him. Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback, but again, he only beat Patrick Mahomes one time in the playoffs to go on to the Super Bowl. Hasn't done it since. Justin Herbert had a 27 point lead against the Jaguars, 20-point lead against the Jaguars. Blew that. Their offense was stagnant the entire second half. Couldn't put up a point. He lost in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts, he has let's see, he beat Josh Johnson in the championship game / Brock Purdy, and then he beat Lamar Jackson for him to go to the Super Bowl. So he has 2 playoff wins. And when he went to the playoffs his first year starting, he got blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was a potentially explodes, and people were saying in the media that he can't read defenses. That isn't true, but I'm just saying what the narrative was, right? So we're just looking at all the quarterbacks who make more money than Dak Prescott. Like I said, Kyler Murray hasn't done anything in the playoffs. I think he's 0-1 in the playoffs, hasn't won. He doesn't have any division titles. I'm not flaunting those and saying division titles are good, but I'm just saying hasn't won his division as many times as Dak has. doesn't even have the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott has, but he makes more money than him. Russell Wilson, we're grading people off of what have you done for me lately. Russell Wilson had 2 bad back-to-back. Well, last year was his best year as a Bronco, but the year before that was atrocious. And then the last year he was in Seattle was bad because he messed up his finger on a Thursday night game against the Broncos, I want to say, or the Colts. One of those games. He played a Thursday night game. He messed up his thumb, and he didn't have a really good year that year. I already talked about Jalen Hurts. He only has 2 playoff wins. Josh Allen, he may have 4 or 5 playoff wins, but if you look at who they're against, who did he beat? He beat a 41-year-old, what's that kid's name? Phillip Rivers, grown man, my bad, grown man. He was 41 at that time. He beat Lamar Jackson with no weapons and then lost in the championship game. He beat Mac Jones. Who else did he beat? I'm trying to think about it right now. He didn't really beat anybody, but everyone likes to flaunt Josh Allen like he's this all-world quarterback. He's really good. He has really great talent, but he isn't all that. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson hasn't done anything like since, pre all the stuff that was, accusations towards him, things he's being accused of and things of that nature. Before that, he was really good, yeah, but since then he hasn't done anything to warrant a 5-year deal, $230 million with $230 million guaranteed. Like, he didn't deserve a contract like that, but he got one because the Browns desperately needed a quarterback. Daniel Jones just got paid only because of one good playoff win. He didn't have a playoff run where he won like 2 games, went to the championship game and lost to the Niners, something like that. Like, that didn't happen with him. He got a contract off of that, 4 years, $160 million, got $81 million guaranteed. Matthew Stafford finally had one good career where he won a Super Bowl. He got a contract, was solid last year, but hasn't done anything since that Super Bowl loss. But we're always getting this notion about, does certain quarterbacks deserve contracts or not? If we're basing does quarterbacks deserve off of playoff success, there should only be one quarterback that should deserve all the money in the league, and that'll be Patrick Mahomes. And as we know in the league, every single time somebody gets paid, somebody jumps them, and it's like that all the time. Or the person who resets the market at 60. So let's say Dak resets the market at 60, and the next group of guys that have to get paid, or Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, was time for him to get paid. Tua Tagovailoa was time for him to get paid. But like I said, quarterbacks who are due for contracts: Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Fields, Jordan Love is going to be due for a contract pretty soon. So those are 4 quarterbacks who are possibly going to be making anywhere from $55 to $65 million. And probably the only people who's going to be reaching that status of 60 plus maybe might be Trevor Lawrence, might be Tua Tagovailoa. But I think those guys are going to be anywhere between that $60 and $55 million mark. But like I said, each quarterback jumps the next. So that's just how it is. No matter if it's by a penny, it's about $1 million, it's by a couple $100,000, it doesn't matter. Everyone is going to leapfrog each other in the contracts, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're a sports agent, and that's what you're supposed to do in the league. So that's why that's why everyone can get to that $1 billion contract and make a couple $100 million a year. That's what these players are fighting for. So they're going to keep doing that, and that's just how it is. That's how the market is. And like I said, you just look at some of the top quarterbacks, or the top 10 paidest, or top 10 highest contract earnings in the league. If we're just looking at last year, like Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow didn't make the playoffs. Justin Herbert didn't make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson lost in championship game. Josh Allen lost in the second round. Jalen Hurts lost in the first round. Russell Wilson didn't even make the playoffs. Kyler Murray didn't make the playoffs. Deshaun Watson didn't make the playoffs. Himself leading the Browns to the playoffs, he didn't do that. Dak Prescott was the only person in the top 10. Stafford, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes were the 5 quarterbacks that are top 10 highest paid quarterbacks, took their teams to the playoffs, and only one won the Super Bowl in Patrick Mahomes. So again, debunking that. And then also about the whole, when someone gets paid and you see that big flashing numbers, 4 years, $160 million, you guys got to realize how much money is guaranteed. And the guaranteed at signing, which I've talked about plenty of times in my videos, but I got to keep explaining it. So like I said, Dak Prescott had a 4-year contract, $160 million. Players are worried about signing bonuses and guaranteed at signing. The reason why they fight for guaranteed is because you never know what's going to happen to you in the NFL. So the guaranteed signing means that if I don't ever play a game or horrible injury, I'm messed up mentally, whatever the case might be, and I don't ever want to play football ever again, how much money am I guaranteed to have no matter what? $95 million is going to go directly towards Dak Prescott's contract, no matter if he plays another down of football or not. Signing bonus, that's what you get for, you basically get that automatically when you sign the contract. So that's what it is, a signing bonus. So when you sign the contract, they're automatically giving you $66 million. So again, and you look at the cap hit and the salary cap is something that we're talking about as a football team. The very first year when these quarterbacks and these pass rushers and these players get multi-year contracts and big contracts, the accounting teams, the agency, everybody, they don't ever put the big number, that whatever cap hit number, they don't ever put those in the front of the contract. So the first 2 years of the contract, when you're paying a really expensive quarterback, you don't really pay that until year 3, year 4 into his contract. Then they also added 2 void years in the contract where they can just dump money into to free up cap space. So there's so much maneuvering in the salary cap where we're going to be just fine. But like I said, so 2021, the first year he got his contract, he only made $17.2 million. That is nothing compared to the other quarterbacks and what they made that year. Some quarterbacks were 20, some quarterbacks were 15. But like I said, some quarterbacks don't make a whole lot of money towards the cap their very first year. But like I said, Dak Prescott, as soon as he signed it March of 2021, he already had $66 million. Not saying that's it, but he still had, let me check real quick. So from that 66 he signed at in March, he still has $29 million he has to get paid out to, right? So he only counted $17.2 million against the cap, which isn't bad compared to other teams and other quarterbacks and other players when they get into their 3rd or 4th year into their contract. So then the second year, you look at that cap number, 19.7, wasn't nothing. Again, compared to everybody else who's making 20, 25, nothing. Your quarterback in his 3rd year, finally, think about it, his 3rd year into his 4-year contract, he only costed $26.8 million against the cap in his 3rd year. Now he's coming into his 4th year, and he has a huge cap number in $59.46 million in cap. That number cannot be there. And the reason why we have to extend Dak Prescott, whether you like it, whether I like it, is because I don't want to pay Dak Prescott because you're trying to prove to fans like, hey, we're really serious about winning, and we're not going to pay him. He don't get a contract until he takes us to a championship game or a Super Bowl. Dummies. If you don't pay Dak Prescott, guess who else doesn't get paid? Who is viewed to be better than Dak Prescott? CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. Everyone buys their jerseys, yells their names at the training camp, whether you're in Frisco, whether you're in Oxnard. You scream their names at the games. You scream their names at the TV when you're yelling and upset about whether we're losing or not. You're yelling. If you view them to be better, you want to take care of them and also pay your quarterback. And plus, we save $30 million. We save $30 million by signing your quarterback. Sign your quarterback, get it out the way. And this is another reason why I feel like we'll never win Super Bowls, because we do things so unorthodox. It takes us 3 months, dang near. We're almost into the new year. We're like 2 or 3 weeks away from the new year and the new league year, and we're finally figuring out our defensive coordinator. What else we're about to do? We still don't have a linebacker. We have to figure out our offensive line. We're the only team that when it's time to pay the guys that we drafted and that the scout team with Whit McClay and everybody like that that's part of that scouting department, they work so hard year in and year out. They're traveling all over the year during college football season to look for the next great prospect. And now you want to spit in not only the player's face, the agent's face, because you're wasting their time by constantly wanting to screw them down over $1 that, you waste everybody's time. You spit in the scouting department's face, because why are you getting to arguing wars with their agents about whether or not should my player deserve a contract? You already know what Dak Prescott has brought to your team. And we're seeing a year we've seen years before, prior to Dak Prescott even being a Cowboy. But let's just say when he's been a Cowboy, look at 2020. Look how horrible that year was when we didn't have him. You know, so just think about, you know, your quarterback and things of that nature. And yeah, does he deserve the money? I believe so. But if there's others out there who don't believe he doesn't, who really cares about their opinion? I mean, they're not making 6, 7, 8 figures that these guys are making, so it doesn't really matter. Again, millionaires don't ask thousandaires about financial advice. They don't. They ask people who are making millions or billions. They ask them people for advice. They don't ask people less than that on their advice about their money. But again, we're another backwards organization where we'll pay our wide receiver who's basically on one leg. It has been playing like he's been on one leg for the past 2 years into his 5-year contract. And then, you know, we haven't been aggressive when Dak Prescott wasn't making any money. When Dak Prescott wasn't making any money, we wasn't successful in terms of winning games and things of that nature. We were always that team that would make it every other year, you know? So I believe we're going to figure it out. I will pay Dak Prescott without a question. It takes more than just Dak Prescott for us to win Super Bowls, for us to win multiple playoff games. Again, I always talked about it and I stressed about it in my videos. If your ownership, your GMs, which is also your ownership because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, and then your coaches, then your players, in that order, if those guys don't want to win Super Bowls and they aren't serious into championship building, and especially with the front office not wanting to aggressively build this team to win Super Bowls, then that's on them. I you know, can't do anything from here. You know, we can make all the YouTube videos, scream and shout as we want, but the Joneses, they got $1 billion. They got a couple $100 billion. They can do whatever they want. So that's about it for the video, man. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.